She showed up with 3 men I'd never seen before. Big, rough-looking guys who climbed out of her SUV like they owned the street. Karen pointed straight at my house and yelled, "That man refuses to join the HOA. Make him sign today or drag him out." One of the men cracked his knuckles, grinning like it was already a done deal. My dog, a trained canine, stood on the porch growling low with his ears pinned back. They laughed at him, calling him a mutt, but I didn't laugh. I leaned on the shotgun resting by the door and said calmly, "Step 1 foot closer and you'll regret it." Karen sneered, clutching her fake HOA binder like it was some holy scripture. "You're on HOA land now," she barked, "and you'll follow my rules." But I heard the tiny tremor in her voice. The biggest thug took a step forward until my canine lunged, barking so fiercely that the man froze mid-step. Doubt spread across their faces like wildfire. Then Karen yanked out a fake notice and slapped it on my gate. "You're evicted as of today," she declared, waving the paper like it carried any weight. I didn't flinch. I just smiled and said, "Funny, because the sheriff already knows you're trespassing." Right on cue, the sound of sirens sliced through the air. Karen's fake confidence cracked. Her goons turned toward her, waiting for direction, but her face had gone pale. She didn't expect me to call for backup before she even arrived, and she definitely didn't expect who was about to pull up behind her. The patrol car came fast, lights flashing red and blue across the entire street. Karen froze like a deer in headlights, but her crew still tried to act tough. The sheriff stepped out, hat low, hand resting casually near his holster. Karen rushed forward, voice shrill with panic. "Sheriff, arrest this man. He's refusing HOA law and he threatened us with a gun." The sheriff didn't even glance at her. He walked straight to me, shook my hand, and said loudly, "You holding up all right?" Karen's jaw dropped. "What? Why are you on his side? He's breaking the rules." The sheriff turned to her, eyes cold. "Lady, there is no HOA here. This land's under county jurisdiction, and I've already warned you about pretending to be an official." One of her thugs tried to speak. She said he was squatting. The sheriff cut him off, pulling a folder from his car. He held up the deed with my name stamped and sealed. "This man owns every inch of this property, fair and legal." Karen's face went ghost white. She lunged for the paper, but the sheriff snapped it back. "Touch that again and you'll be charged with destroying evidence." Silence swept over the street, just my canine's low growl breaking the air. The men shifted nervously, realizing they weren't the muscle. They were just pawns. And for the first time, Karen looked like she was the one about to get thrown out. She tried to recover, voice cracking. "Sheriff, you don't understand. He threatened me with a loaded gun. He pointed it right at us." She clutched her throat, pretending to tremble. Her goons nodded along in fake outrage. "Yeah, he was ready to shoot." The sheriff didn't blink. He just turned to me. "You got the footage?" I smiled, pulled my phone from my pocket, and handed it over. Karen's eyes went wide. "Footage? What footage?" The sheriff tapped the screen. Under the flashing lights, the video played. Karen's SUV pulling up, her shouting orders, her men walking toward my porch while I stood calm, shotgun untouched. Then clear as day, her slapping that fake eviction notice on my gate. Her own voice echoed through the night. "Make him sign or drag him out." The sheriff turned the volume up. Neighbors peeked from their porches, whispering. "She's been lying this whole time," one woman said. Karen's face broke, panic flooding her eyes. She lunged at the sheriff's phone, but my K9 leapt forward, barking so loud she stumbled into one of her own thugs. The sheriff snapped his cuffs open with one hand. "Enough lies. Enough games, impersonation, harassment, trespassing. How deep do you want to dig this hole, Karen?" She said nothing, just trembled. The thugs started backing away, realizing they'd been dragged into something much bigger than they thought. The sheriff didn't cuff her right away. Instead, he pulled another document from his folder, stamped with the county seal. He held it up. "Karen here has been sending out fake HOA letters for months. We've got dozens of complaints. She's been charging illegal fees, threatening people with eviction." Gasps spread through the growing crowd. One neighbor shouted, "She took $200 from me for lawn violations." Another added, "She locked me out of my garage until I paid cash." The sheriff's jaw tightened. Yeah, none of that money went to any HOA. It went straight into her personal account. Karen's eyes darted everywhere, looking for an escape. "That's not true." "They're lying," she stammered. But even her thugs stepped away like she carried a disease. "Lady, One muttered, "You didn't say this was illegal." The sheriff stepped closer, voice low but firm enough for all to hear. "You tried to run a fake government on my watch. That ends tonight." He turned to me and nodded. "You've been more patient than most." Karen shook her head wildly, shouting, "You can't arrest me. I am the Ho. I make the rules here." But no one believed her anymore. Neighbors were filming every word. Her power was gone, not because of me, not even because of the sheriff, but because her own lies finally buried her. Then she snapped. Eyes wild, she grabbed her fake binder from the SUV and held it over her head. "This is legal authority!" she screamed, and hurled it at my K9. My dog dodged easily, teeth bared. The crowd gasped. "Enough!" the sheriff barked, stepping forward. But Karen wasn't done. She yanked a cheap plastic badge from her purse and waved it like gold. "See, I'm authorized. Deputized by the county." The sheriff stared for a beat, then laughed, cold and sharp. "That's a toy store badge. You just added another felony. Impersonating law enforcement." He pulled out his real badge and held it next to hers. The difference was humiliating. Phones captured every angle. Karen lunged toward me, reaching for my shotgun like she thought she could flip the story. But my K9 launched between us, forcing her back. She stumbled into the dirt, red-faced and sweating. This time, the sheriff didn't hesitate. He grabbed her wrists, cuffed her, and read her rights loud enough for the whole block to hear. Her thugs stood frozen. "You want to go down with her?" the sheriff asked. They threw their hands up. "We didn't know." "We're done." The street buzzed, neighbors cheering, cameras rolling. Karen's authority was shattered in an instant, but even in cuffs, she wouldn't stop talking. Twisting around, she glared at me with venom. "You think this is over?" "I have people above the sheriff, real people." Her words dripped with rage as she screamed, "Give me my phone!" The sheriff refused. But a deputy, thinking it might help, pulled it from her bag. Karen smirked. "Good, put it on speaker. Let everyone hear." The sheriff sighed but agreed, ready to end her act once and for all. She dialed fast, muttering, "You'll regret this." The call clicked. A man's voice answered, irritated. "Karen, what now?" "You're supposed to keep things quiet." The crowd went silent. Karen shouted, "They're arresting me." "You promised protection." The sheriff narrowed his eyes. "Who is this?" The man hesitated, laughed nervously, then hung up. But it was too late. His voice carried just enough. Whispers rippled through the crowd. "Wasn't that Councilman Briggs? The county official?" The sheriff's expression hardened, and Karen finally realized there was no one left to save her.